Round 7 of the AFL is over, so it's time to pick the winners and losers of Round 8. So I was actually fairly happy with this week's results. I had 5 close scorelines and a couple of results that didn't quite go the way that they should have on my books. So let's run through. Now, the first one was gut feeling. I went Port Adelaide to win by 6. They won by 7. I know St Kilda were having a fairly decent run of form, but I just thought that Port had that attack. They've been playing well themselves and just had that extra gear to go against St Kilda. And I was right. They actually won by 7, so I was 1 point off. But a solid start from me from the first game on Friday. Next up on the Saturday, I had another close one. I did Brisbane by 40. I was fed up of Fremantle letting me down, and by the looks of it, with only 2% of people going for Fremantle, a lot of people thought the same. They actually won by 48, so I get within the 30%. I get an extra half a point as well. So a really, really good start. This is when it sort of went downhill. I must either stop going for Sydney or they've got to stop letting me down. I did Sydney a big win by 30. And what were they doing? Why were they not marking Toby Green in the last seconds of the game? Oh my word. I'm watching it. I'm thinking, get tighter, get tighter, get tighter. We were winning. We should have won it. Even the commentators were speaking as if we'd won the game in the last quarter. And we blew it. We blew it by 1 point, so I get nothing from that game. However, I was pleased to see that after my moaning about Longmire being up in the stands, he did actually come down. So maybe he's learning from me. Maybe he's watched my videos. Longmire, if you're watching, let me know down in the comments, or you can send me an email and invite me to Australia to a game. That'd be nice of you. Next up, here we go again. Bulldogs, 97% of people thought they were going to win. Hawthorn only 3%. I did them to win by 30. They actually won by 29. So another point for the win, half a point for close scoreline. Not bad. That was a really, really good one as well. It was a fairly confident win by Bulldogs, and most people thought that. And a fair few people went along the lines of 30 with me, and a decent amount of people went 29 as well. So a lot of people picked up some points with that game as well. Then it is the Demons versus North. Demons versus Kangaroos. I did it by 50. Actually, they won by 90. I thought 50 was a big scoreline. It wasn't big enough. Only 3% went for North, which I'm amazed. Less people went for Fremantle, but hey ho. No one. One person got within the 30%. Everyone else pretty much got the right result, bar 2 people, but not quite the right scoreline. I'm surprised some of the people that went for 10 or less, even 20 or less, because North had no chance. But anyway, a big win. I get the 1 point for the score, for the result. Next, West Coast versus Carlton. See, West Coast were... How did 7% of people think West Coast were going to win that? You know, Carlton have let me down a few times recently, but no, it was a huge win. It was an absolute huge. I did Carlton by 10. I don't know why I didn't do more. This is the first game that Carlton have really shown their attacking prowess. People can say to me now, oh, look, you've got all these players, blah, 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 Crips and all that. Okay, well, this is the first game they have actually shown their attacking prowess. They won by 108 points. Ouch. Ouch. So, yeah, I get the point for the result. Nowhere near for the scoreline, though. Next up on the Sunday, we had Essendon versus Geelong. This is another good one. I did Geelong by 30, and they actually won by 28. I didn't think... Look, 36% of people went for Essendon. 64% went for Geelong. Geelong have now started finding their form. They're up to 7th place. They were rock bottom after 3 games. After 2 games. They are now finding their feet. 132. A real big scoreline for both teams as well. So a fairly decent game. But Geelong get the win. I get the result. And half a point for a close scoreline. Then we had Richmond versus Gold Coast. Richmond let me down big time. I did Richmond by 20. They lost by 24. So well done if you did Gold Coast. 30% of people did go for Gold Coast. So fair play to you guys. A lot of people thought Gold Coast would win, but close. So well done. I get nothing for that one. And then I am gutted about this one. I'm gutted. Another gut feeling I had was Adelaide Crows. I just had a gut feeling they would win. And they should have won. But once again, they, just like Sydney, they screwed it up right at the end. I think Crows fans and Sydney fans will be feeling the same way after those results. Losing by 1 at the death. Oh, annoyingly, I don't get the result, but I do get half a point for having a close score. So I do get something out of it at least. So onto the leaderboard, let's take a look. And I would like to say what I really like about Super Brew, which is the website that we're using, is that it's not just about who wins and who loses. It's about trying to get those close results. And so, yes, I got six correct results, but I did pretty well with getting those extra few points with close results, and that is making the difference. Now, if we're looking, Ragnarok Kex is still number 1 and Jackson's still number 2. Aussie TV, they've been doing really, really well. No movement in the top 4. Let's see where I am. Boom, boom, boom. I'm over in 14th. I've gone up 16 places. My slip has now become a climb, so I'm happy with that. Let's see. No one at the top there has got the golden cap. Let's see who's done the best this week. Going down, I'm going down, I'm going down. I am still going down. Wow. In 67th place, Lids has got the golden hat this week. Lids has done the best. Let's see where the wooden spoon... I can't believe that's so low down. And 16 places. I went up 16 places. I want the golden hat. Oh, Chris. See, Chris has... Okay, Chris has got the wooden spoon and has gone up 2 spaces. So I'm assuming other people possibly just forgot to play. But Chris does get the wooden spoon. Onto this week's picks. On Friday, we start with a very, very tough one. Carlton versus Brisbane. Both teams, Carlton absolutely destroyed their opposition this previous round. Brisbane are also on form. Oh my word. It's at the Marvel. The only thing I can go on is the home team. That's all I can go on because both teams now maybe are finding a little bit of form. Less form with Carlton, but they just destroyed. I think I've got to go with the home team. That's all I've got. There's no other reasoning to pick one team over the other. I'm going to do Carlton by 10. This is really difficult. That is a real tough start. I'm going Carlton by 10 and that's all I've got for you. I'm sorry. Next up at the MCG on Saturday, Richmond versus West Coast. Both teams that I can say they're both awful. Yes, you can say, oh, they've got injuries. Doesn't matter. They're still awful. Both teams. These are 16th and 17th in the table. No, sorry. 16th and 18th in the table. It's at the MCG. Got to go West Coast. Ignore that. I've got to go Richmond. Will they start? I do Richmond by 15. 15 for Richmond. They're in Melbourne. Technically, I would say they're the better team. That's all I've got. I think Richmond will win, but it's another tricky one. That's some real tricky games. Next up, it is at Geelong Stadium, the GMHBA Stadium. Both teams are playing well. Geelong have now, as I said, really, really hit form. They've blown teams out of the water in recent weeks. Adelaide Crows, it was a low-scoring game against Carlton, and they were sloppy to let it go. They should have won that game. Now, I think technically Geelong, if they're now finding form, are a stronger team than Collingwood. I don't know what I'm saying. My words aren't coming out. They're definitely a stronger team than Collingwood. So it's at Geelong Stadium. I've got to go Geelong, and I don't think it's going to be a small margin. I think I'm gutted because I went for Adelaide Crows last week, but I don't think I can this week. I'm 40. Yeah, I'm going 40 for Geelong. Then at the Metricon, Gold Coast versus Melbourne. See, Gold Coast have technically won 2 games in a row. I still think they're awful. When I say awful, that seems a bit harsh. They're clearly doing better than certain other teams, aren't they? Like North and whatnot, and West Coast. But Melbourne are a strong team. Melbourne are a team that they can travel anywhere, and you know you're going to get a fairly good performance. Even if it's not the best performance, Melbourne seem to at least play average. And average is sometimes enough when they've got the quality they have. So I know it's an away game for Melbourne. I'm going Melbourne by 30. Yeah, I'm doing Melbourne by 30. Next up, it's the GWS Giants. I want to swear. But I won't. Giants versus Western Bulldogs. I don't even think Giants were that good. That's the annoying thing. I don't even think they were that good against Sydney, but Sydney gave them the result in the end. I'm going to go Western Bulldogs. I don't think Western Bulldogs are that amazing of a team. But I think, I said this at the start, GWS are a team that can play really well or really rubbish. Very, very rarely is it's average. I know it's in Canberra, but it doesn't matter. I'm going Bulldogs by 10. I don't think it's going to be loads. I'm going Bulldogs by 10. Over to the Optus. See, I think I've got to go back to supporting Fremantle now. That's the problem. I had a week off not supporting Fremantle, but I think they've got to beat Hawthorn. Hawthorn are struggling so much, and it's at the Optus. I think, Fremantle. See, they're not a high-scoring team. I'll do Fremantle by 10. That is one thing the Dockers are missing. It's the goal scorers. They're just not scoring enough. And when they are on top in a game, they can't finish it off. They cannot produce those goals in the final third. So I will do Fremantle, but only by 10. Sunday, Port Adelaide, Essendon. Essendon are now, they've lost 2 games back-to-back. Port have now won 4 games in a row. It's at the Oval, the Adelaide Oval. I think I'm going to go Port. I think in my gut, Port, they're doing well at the moment. Port might even make top 8 this year. They're doing okay. Hang on, where are they in the league? Does it say? Yeah, Port. So I'm looking. It's on the side of the screen. Port are in 5th at the moment. I think they might even make top 8 if they keep this. I'm going to go Port by 15. Port by 15. That's a tough one because I'm not saying Essendon can't win, but I think maybe Essendon are now on the downward slope. If Port can carry on their form, scoring well, dominant in games, physically strong at the Adelaide Oval, then there's no reason why they shouldn't win. Then Collingwood versus Sydney Swans. Oh man. No, I can't. How can I go against the Swans? The only issue is the Swans will probably lose. It's at the MCG. It's against Collingwood, who play well at the MCG. But Swans are my team. I'm going to go Swans because they're my team. You may say, Rob, you are a fool. Sometimes you've got to go against your team, but I can't. I can't go against my team. Swans by 10. Swans by 10. And I'm probably going to lose. I understand that, but I cannot go against the Swans. But we will probably lose. Oh, God. That's painful. Anyway, Marvel. At the Marvel. Melbourne. North Melbourne versus St Kilda. It's a St Kilda win. St Kilda are going to get back on a winning run, I'm sure. They don't want to lose too many. They don't want to slip down. That seems to be the story of St Kilda over the years, right? Saints by, let's go big, Saints by 70. That is huge. I think is that the biggest one I've done? I think that might have been the biggest scoreline difference I've done so far. So there we are. I've got Carlton by 10, Richmond by 15, Geelong by 40, Demons by 30, Western Bulldogs by 10, Dockers by 10, Port by 15, Sydney by 10, and St Kilda by 70. Let me know how you're doing in our league. Do you think you're going to beat me? Bear in mind, I am on the up. I am starting to kick into gear now. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for following along with the tipping contest. It is awesome to have so many people in it and competing and doing their best. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.